This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
It's the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast.
We're old school, right? We wash our own dirty laundry.
The name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
I refuse to be judged by a grown man wearing a hockey jersey.
Game on! Game on!
We are back with another episode of the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast, episode number 60. DocNoyes, along with Wade Hampton and Paul Rank. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Doing well.
We took a week off last week just because we all had crazy schedules. Things were going on, but we are back at it this week. I have a feeling it will pretty much be every week through the season. I do know 1 week in November, I'm going to be visiting Florida, so I will not be able to do a show that week, but otherwise we'll be around. Speaking of Florida, we want to wish the best for everybody in Florida, and the other states are going to be affected by this one hell of a hurricane. I've got friends and family down there we're staying in contact with in the Tampa and Orlando area, both. A lot of other friends on Facebook posting stuff. So please be careful, be safe. Yes, your jerseys are important, but not as important as you. Expos. We have one coming up this Saturday. We will have George on next week to talk about it, give us a wrap up, how it went, all that stuff. But Paul, you've got the info for any last minute people going or looking to go.
Yeah, it's in West Deptford, New Jersey, this Saturday from 10 till 4.
The South Jersey Expo.
South Jersey Expo. I think there's a get together Friday night that Hoagie from Ice Violence hosts.
Yes.
And whiskey, which we did not cover yet.
We'll mention that after we get to the expo. I just realized I forgot that.
That's okay. We can thank Mitch too. So new additions to the expo list. We finally added the Hershey Game Worn Expo. That's November 2nd in Hershey, Pennsylvania at the Holiday Inn. Well, technically Grantville, Pennsylvania, which I assume is next to Hershey. And then we will have next week an announcement on the San Jose one, which is looking now to be February 1st. I'm just waiting for confirmation on the location. I was hoping I could do it tonight, but that will be next week. And then the big one coming up is in St. Louis on October 19th and 20th. And Wade, if you would like to weigh in on that, please.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it the big one, but it's definitely big on my plate, and everything's looking really good. Got a couple signers, Mike Zook on Saturday, Dwight Schofield on Sunday. We're going to have probably close to 40 tables again this year, and a lot of people to visit with and have a good time. Have classic auctions coming in, heritage auctions is coming in, Uncle Milt's coming in, and tons of other local and regional area, people coming in from kind of everywhere. And so it's going to be a good time as always. And I'm looking forward to hosting it and seeing all the stuff and seeing all the people.
A lot of guys come in Friday night. I'll be in there Friday night as well. It's an easy hour and 30-minute drive for me, but it's fun Friday night to get together with everybody. And if the room's available, I know we start setup. That's fun. And we'll be recording several shows.
Friday night setup will happen. And the best part about the Friday night setup is everybody kind of rolls in. And then usually I think we usually go and get something to eat or do something or just hang out in the lobby. So we don't really have an official sponsor for the Friday night. But I guess we'll just say that Drink Your Face Off, Mitch is the sponsor of our Friday night get together.
Even from afar, yes. Don't forget to get your shirts and or pucks from Mitch there. Since we didn't plug him at the start of the show, and we're at that point, and I'd also forgot the drink of this week for the old fashioned is made with High West whiskey, American Prairie Bourbon. They have both. This is the regular I'm drinking now. They also have a rye that is very good. But yeah, High West is the bourbon of this week. And if anybody out there has ties to distillers, things like that, and wants to send me a bottle to mention on the program, please reach out. I'll get you my address, and I will gladly add them in as a specialty sponsor and that kind of stuff. So, no, and get to one of these expos, even if you can only go for a couple hours or something. It's so much fun. I'm very excited about it. Trying to already start getting stuff together and planning for packing my car and everything else to get down there. So it'll be a lot of fun.
It's just a good time. I'm really, I've had a lot of stuff going on, and I really wanted to get out to George's, out to Philly this year, but that'll have to wait till next year. But yeah, like you said, I think just getting to them or being around people in the hobby, like-minded people that have the same hobbies and enjoy the same stuff is just such a huge part of this. I was talking on the phone to a fellow collector earlier when I was on my way home from work, and we were talking about it. And I think the relationships, and we say this all the time, are just as important as the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we could all sit in an empty room and tell stories and all that. Wouldn't happen to have the jerseys, but it's fun laying our hands on what people have picked up even in the last year from last time we've seen them, or making those deals, because those start Friday night. I know they'll start with Friday night, tomorrow night for South Jersey. So and just enjoy that time hanging out with other collectors and sharing such a fun hobby with everybody.
Yeah.
But please enjoy that. We can't wait to have George on this coming Thursday to wrap things up, talk about how it went, all that kind of good stuff. Very excited to have him on. Oilers did a locker room sale this past weekend. Lots of good pictures. They also threw their game jerseys up online, and I think McDavid's was 17 grand, and I saw it sold out very quickly. Did not see much between the groups, and if anybody has information, please feel free to message me, Paul, or Wade. Pricing of stuff in general is what jerseys were, what helmets, all that kind of stuff. Where it's always nice to compare what teams were, but it looks like a lot of people picked up good stuff. Really had a good time. The pictures look cool, look like a neat setup, and did seem like it had gone well. I didn't see any complaints between any of the different forums and that for that Facebook pages and everything. Auctions going on around the area. My Gray, the only one they have currently up, ends on October the 1st. It is the team bags from different random teams. So check those out. Some I did look at just a little bit ago, did not have any bids on them. Even if you just want one to play in, $100, if you pick one up for $100 for a bag, that's still nice. Not like I need any more. I have way too many as it is. NHL auctions, you have Buffalo home and away set 4. They actually go live tomorrow. They are posted up there already. You can go see them, but they do go live as of tomorrow.
Just want to add in, I pulled up the Oilers sale that they just did. The McDavid was $35K.
30. Oh, wow. Okay.
And so
I thought
it's a little bit low what you said. It's
35K was what it sold for there.
Yeah, that's what the McDavid sold for. The playoffs Royal Blue set 2. What I forget, the Dreisaitl's were up there. They were $10K, and the Zach Hyman one was $3K Canadian. So it's not as much, but it's still quite a bit of money. $35K in Canadian for the McDavid.
So $7 US.
Exactly. Yes.
And some of them don't seem terrible. I'm on their site too for the 23-24 playoff set 2. Nugent Hopkins, $1,750. That one I don't think is too far out of line. Darnell Nurse, $1,250. Of course, I'm not an Oilers person. I don't know that their pricing as well. But some of the other ones that are in here, the Navy sets on some of the players for $375. I think it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, for sure.
A Draisaitl set 2 white, $4,500. Not out of line, but their site set up well. But yeah, that's quite interesting pricing to say the least. And I hope if you did go up there and go to the sale, you had a good time and got the things you were looking for. Classic auctions, their auction closed. What was that? Monday or Tuesday. Is that right? And we had discussed some of the different auctions going up there. The highest priced item out of anything that closed was a 64-65 Gordie Howe red jersey, multiple team LOAs. The final price on that was $190,414. The next highest of jersey wise was a 91-92 Patrick Waugh Canadians with the 75th patch, $34,621. 1984 Mike Bossy Team Canada for $21,013. You've got a 13-14 Sidney Crosby Stanley Cup playoff captain's jersey for $16,698. An Ovechkin. You know, the prices on those will climb, especially with this season if he breaks all those different records. Ovechkin 22-23 Capitals game worn with My Great LOA closed for $16,147. One of the ones, Wade, that you were talking about was the one of the St. Louis Blues jerseys, and it was the
Brian Sutter, yeah.
Yes, the ironed on letters,
Yeah.
and we've seen that with them, with the
Nordiques.
Thank you. I couldn't put that team name out of my head, and I think, was there one other, or was it just those two teams that had that issue?
I think there was another team that had the issue, but it's not as severe as those two. The Sutter jersey went for, it was like $1,200 and something dollars, I think.
$1,379.
Yeah, I mean, and we were just talking about the fact that jersey is realistically, his jersey in any other style is probably $4 or $5K and up. Sorry, I've got a dog. I've got dogs.
Oh, you're good.
So hold on for 1 second.
But no, and Wade, to get on to Wade's point while he's taking care of the fun animals, Paul, do you think if the damage wasn't there, if that hadn't flaked off, that you'd be paying a much higher price?
Possibly. I think the concern is the potential of it flaking off. I mean, this one's already started flaking. You've seen some Nordiques, which are basically, the numbers are gone due to flaking. It's something I wouldn't want in my collection. It's just because I know it's going to get worse. As it gets worse, it would just drive me crazy. And
here's the picture of it here from the from Classic Auction. You've got the blue of the number just peeling away, and it's what do you do? Do you get with a conservator that's works with museums and old fabrics and somehow restore it, or at least keep it from getting worse? Because even every time you handle it, I mean, you're risking that especially that number one where it's half peeled off, more of it going away.
So I have one a home and away from that era. They wore those for 2 years like that. I have them because I want to have one from each era in my collection, but like I've got them like hidden away in a closet in a corner, like because if you move it, it just deteriorates, and it's kind of a shame. I guess getting back to that jersey in particular, I mean, if you just think about what we talked about before we came on, I don't think I've seen a Sutter jersey go for less than $3-4 grand minimum. So it just really, we talked about this a few weeks ago about condition and what condition does to value. And I think on those and on that one in particular, it just demonstrates what that did to the value of that jersey. Because I think in better condition, that's a 3 or 4 times that sale.
Yeah, for sure. And it's unfortunate, but that's and I know with the Nordiques ones, we've seen people post about them, and you do see those move in the hobby occasionally, but they're only eventually get to a point. If you don't do anything, they're going to deteriorate to the point where, this is a great jersey, and you can kind of see the outline of the numbers, and that's it. It's unfortunate, and it's not a collector's fault, but you may have to pay a lot of money if you want to try and conserve that to a point where it doesn't get worse. I know with the mid 90s Blues too, around the Blue Note had that vinyl, and if you more now than of course back then. If you wash them, things like that, that vinyl would come off.
Yeah, it does it on the numbers on those too. They start to peel all the way
Yep.
into the clown era. I mean, it's just, even on those, when you think about secondarily selling those, or when you have those, even if it's a really good player and the crust is damaged, the numbers are damaged, it makes it changes the value of them pretty substantially, and I think we just see that. I know that there's a couple collectors that we know that are very particular when they buy those. They ask people to fold them a certain way so that the numbers and the crest doesn't sustain any damage, because once those things dry out and they start to come apart, it's really hard to control it.
Yeah. Now, did either one of you guys end up with anything from the auction?
No, I wasn't a bidder in this one. Like I said, I collect Ryan O'Reilly, so I was watching that. That actually went for a lot less than I expected it to go, but I think that market has gotten soft on Ryan in St. Louis just because you don't see a ton of them. They sold for a lot of money when they sold through the auctions, and I think that I think we see that cooling period. And we've seen it with guys in the past with the Blues, like when David Backes first left, like kind of wasn't real popular on a secondarily traded, and then he kind of was gone for a while. And then a couple of them popped up, and people were like, "Oh God, I really love David Backes."
Yeah.
So I think we're in that period for Ryan because he's playing for Nashville and he's still in the league, but he's a little bit of a departure time from the Blues. But those are the jerseys that I think you'll see Ryan O'Reilly jerseys, Blues ones especially, because he was so important during kind of an important time of the franchise. I think in a couple of years, if they pop up, they'll sell for a premium again.
Sure. I ended up with one, but it was just an AHL jersey. It's a guy that played here in Springfield for the Junior Blues, Tommy Napier. It was his actual first AHL Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins game jersey, 2021.
Oh, nice.
And picked it up what I would think very cheap. He only played 4 games that year, but he was signed kind of weird, and then they signed him to a 3-year deal, but it was his first jersey, and there was actually an article about him signing and playing the first game and getting shelled and the team not helping him out, and there's a giant picture of him in this exact jersey. So it's kind of nice to pick it up and add it to another one of the collection of people that have came through Springfield. So got my invoice today. I need to get that paid so I can get it shipped back here. But overall, I mean, a very nice auction, a lot of different things. Going back to the Blues for a minute, I was also watching just because curious where it would go. Is they had a game issued Chris Pronger All-Star jersey from 01-02, had the Colorado style, that All-Star patch on it, and it sold for the same price as that O'Reilly. And the Pronger jersey was issued because he had injury issues and didn't go the All-Star game, which I thought was kind of interesting to see where that issued fell. And again, still an All-Star jersey, and with Pronger standing overall still, I mean, he's a favorite, not just in St. Louis.
Sure. Yeah, that there was there was one of the Cardinal warm-up jerseys, and that did okay. There was a Langenbrunner third, which I thought did pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I always look at those prices, and you always have to think adding the juice and the shipping and stuff. So, like the O'Reilly was like right at $2,000 when you factor in the juice.
Yeah.
And I figured that's probably is it $2,500, maybe a $3,000 jersey. Probably sold for $3,500 in the auction originally.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's just but that's kind of where that market bears. So, Classic did a really good job, I think, of putting. They always put together a really nice catalog and a lot of diverse stuff, and it's always a fun place to look for stuff. And unfortunately, I wasn't a winner this time.
And it'd be nice to talk to those guys when they're at your expo. We had last year in the podcast, we had Heritage on talking about some stuff. We'll have both Heritage and Classic on the podcast to get their takes on what kind of stuff they're seeing, hobby, all that. We're have a lot of different topics we cover when we do podcasts from the expo.
I know that we're gonna have we've talked, and I'll just say it. I think we're gonna have a table set up just with the equipment for the whole weekend, and that way you can slide in when you want to, and do quick interviews and piece together a few shows, and get some people on and some opinions that maybe are a little different than all of our voices every week or whatever.
Yeah, we'll pull everybody in the room if we have to. It's even bring the autograph guys in and kind of get their take. It's always fun to ask those guys what they think of walking into a room full of jerseys from different eras, and some of which guys they may have played against. Their jerseys hang on racks and that. So that will be very fun. But no, I hope people got what they wanted in the classic auctions and get their stuff paid, and we'll start seeing pictures probably as people get those to share it. Something else that's happened, kind of a weird place that game worn jerseys and practice jerseys showed up in the last week is Pro Stock Hockey. I bought stuff from them over the years via practice jerseys, blank helmets, sticks, different things like that. They're actually based out of Northern Illinois, so it doesn't take me long to get it. But this year they've gotten several teams. Originally we saw mostly practice jerseys. They even had 2 weeks ago, Paul, or 3 weeks ago, they had Seattle Kraken practice jerseys with names and numbers. They're actually training camp ones, had names and numbers on the back. But the last week and a half, they've had Rangers. First, they got Rangers practice/training camp jerseys, the Adidas style ones. And people picked those up. They especially picked up the goalie ones, and they have been able to match those to individual guys. In the New York Collectors Group today, the owner of those posted pictures with the photo matches, which I thought was pretty cool. Then just last week, they posted Rangers game jerseys, both prime green and non-prime green jerseys. The stock photos that they have are the ones that they show in there. If you zoom in on the bottom, you can at least see a set stamp that says not game worn. A bunch of people have ordered those, myself included. Mine should be coming in tomorrow. You don't know who you're getting. I think I ordered a 56. Reason I bought one is with the Bloomington Bison hockey team being affiliated with the Rangers. Figured I would pick that up to wear it up there, but you don't know who you're getting. I'll be curious if some of these show up, especially with the volume they have, that some of them aren't actual game worn ones and not just issued. We'll see. The non-prime green are 159, and I do have still some out there, and then the prime green are 169. So even if you just need an authentic Rangers jersey, and I do know a handful of them because somebody reached out to Pro Stock, some are numbered but do not have a name bar on them, so it's possible if you buy one you will get one that way, but you don't get a choice in numbers, anything. But if you do, I mean, an Adidas jersey for 159 or 169 bucks is pretty decent.
It does look like the ones without name and numbers are more expensive.
Yeah, which is hilarious because then they know people want to buy them and customize them. And I get that, but
they're still cheap, $230, which is,
yeah. We'll talk about that here in a second too.
I will add, since we're talking about Pro Stock, they have blank jerseys from Nashville now too, all in the $200
yes,
range.
Those dropped today. They did have, and I think they've been all gone for a bit. I almost bought one because I was looking up their numbers, but they went before I had a chance. Is they got a bunch of Columbus helmets that were lettered and numbered, and they were some bigger name guys. I was a little surprised to see them in there because they get a lot of the blank team helmets. No stickers of any kind, but these were actually game used, had shields, the whole bit. And I think they were like 109. They weren't expensive at all.
That's great.
And I kicked myself in the butt for not getting them because they were mid-range to higher range players. I'll see if the Wayback Machine has who they were. But so keep an eye on that. That's another place that game issued worn stuff is showing up unexpectedly. Let's see. Arizona jerseys. Those popped up a couple days ago, I think, Paul?
Correct. Yes. I'm trying to find on Arizona Hockey Legacy .square.site.
Yes, and that is and I know some people were pretty upset about initially going there and seeing the sticker shock. That is a charity which is great. But and they do list them all as issued. They do have wording in their descriptions that say, note, due to some jerseys being game worn, there may be imperfections. Fine. I mean, we expect that. A couple that I've looked at initially and maybe need to go through all of them. Clayton Keller, I can't see anywhere on in the picture. I wish they had stamp pictures and some other things to help out, but you've got Global Series ones that are 3,000. You've got the Desert Night ones for 25, and then Rookie Camp for 500. I know there's a lot of chatter in the Arizona collectors group. Think the prices are pretty high overall. Who knows? We might see them change, but again, it is a charity thing, so that might help them move. And several of them, the $500 ones have sold already. I'm trying to see if any of the others have, at least of the ones that show up on the page. I don't see any. But I mean, a chance to get a team that no longer exists if you want one bad enough.
Some beautiful jerseys. I mean, they really did have some fantastic looking jerseys. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think, the charity thing is one thing. And in the other spectrum, I mean, some of those are end of the road. You might not see them for a while kind of things.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Any other?
Go ahead.
They do have multiples of some of the players. They're not all just one-on-one.
I wish they would go back and maybe if there's a collector that knows who this charity or stuff is, reach out to them and maybe help do some more with the descriptions and set tagging, stuff like that. If they're interested, because that may help get those moved a little bit too. If people then have an idea of the white Clayton Keller that's there is a set 3 or whatever, so they can at least figure out if they can match it, stuff like that. That may help get some of those things to move a little bit.
For like an example, Connor Ingram, he has 2 jerseys available right now. The white one, 2 white jerseys, sorry. The white one that they have photos of definitely has lots of marks on it. But, I don't know which one you're getting of the 2. And I'm sure if someone's interested, they will work with you.
I would hope so. I would definitely hope so. So, and if anybody does, or if there's a representative from the group that hears the podcast, feel free to reach out. We'd love to have you on and talk about it. We're very charitable. We would love to help get that information out to more people and get some more information and we'll see what happens. Or if anybody else has any more information I didn't already see online from the Game Use group, please let us know. That's pretty much of the main Game Use stuff that has come across my desk or picked up online in the last 2 weeks. Paul, you were before we get into one of the other things I want to cover, you were sending some pictures to Wade and I from the Sharks game the other night, being down close to those jerseys. They look pretty decent. Were you able to see any wear or any issues at all?
Not one. I could not notice anywhere yet on any of them. And this was the second game that the Sharks have had at home. They have their first away preseason game tonight. We're recording on Thursday.
Yes.
Just, as you're listening to it, there is nothing.
You'll hear it Friday morning.
Yes, exactly. I was driving to work. But no, they look good. I didn't see any issues with any of the jerseys, which we've seen in some of the photos. They have, at the Sharks game worn stand, in addition to having some gear and training camp jerseys, they also have the Fanatics, what is it? Authentics Pro
Authentic
or whatever.
Pro, yep.
Thank you. And so we've been able to take those down and, check them out there. The construction seems pretty good. I'm assuming that the material, well, first of all, it's the same factory. We know that. But I'm assuming the material has been changed from prime green.
Yes.
Since Adidas has the patent on that.
Is it pretty similar as far as, did it feel similar to the other jerseys or?
It actually felt a little bit heftier, is what
Really?
I thought, and it seemed like the stitching on the ones I was able to see there. Remember, these are the ones for sale, not the ones
Yeah.
they're playing. They're supposed to be identical. It seemed like they'd hold up pretty good. So
Yeah.
it's
That's
I mean,
good. Good news. Good news on that front.
And I'll be
yeah.
down in St. Louis Saturday for Blues and Blackhawks. That was one of my things, is I was going to go into the store and check out the Authentic Pro Blues ones just to get my hands on it, feel one, and I'll make sure I wear a one of my prime greens so I can have both right in front of me, kind of feel the difference. I will say, and getting into that topic because I did want to touch on it a little bit, is I have pulled up both the Blues and the Sharks pages for buying the Pro Authentic Fanatics jerseys. They do go from they start at a size 48, at least for the Blues, and go up to a 58 plus. They do not list, and I'll have to ask the store when I'm there, and they may or may not know. They do not list a goalie cut. I know previously you could get the Reebok ones, I think, in the store too, or last time Made in Canada ones were sold. I thought you could get goalie cut ones, but to buy them from the Blues, blank $430, and then to get them the pro stitched is another $150. So 580.
Wow.
Or
Before tax.
yeah, so over 600. What, I don't know what St. Louis tax is, but over $600 for a sewn authentic. On the Sharks page, and they do list them on yours, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, and a 60. So there's not a 58 in there. Your starting price, Paul, if you've not seen it, is 550 for the Authentic Pro, and stitched another 125 bucks. So 675 for an Authentic Pro jersey. We can buy gamers way cheaper than that.
So
Question one for you two, and I'll start with Wade on this and then go to Paul. Question number one is, does that drive prices of the gamers up because the authentics are so much? And then question two, does that continue our worry of people buying the cheaper, the game issues or the training camp ones or preseason ones and stripping them still? Because we had hoped that this would change that, but Christ, at almost $700 for a Sharks jersey.
Well,
I think
I'm
it's
seeing a different price on the Sharks. I'm looking at the sharksproshop.com.
Yep,
And
that's where I'm at right now.
Oh, I'm getting 425 from them.
No, are you on the San Jose Sharks Fanatics Authentic Pro on ice jersey?
Oh, I'm at sharksproshop.com. And then, yeah, I'm seeing 425 as the base price. San Jose Sharks Fanatics Authentic Pro on ice jersey. 425 is the base.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I see what what your site's doing. I hit customize jersey, yes. So it actually it added the stitched of 125 in there. So I'm sorry, with that total is 550.
And
good catch.
You can get pressed on for less, but
yeah, 70 for that.
Why are you going to do that?
If you're spending that much, get it stitched.
So before we start talking about, game issued and stripping stuff, I also find it interesting. The Sharks right now, and I believe the Blues are too, they're only offering the home jerseys.
I think, and I've seen that go around, it may have been on the main page or one of the others. Somebody brought it up in the last day that it seems to be most of the teams. Very few have seen, if any, have seen the whites. And it may be just for availability right now, would be my guess.
That would make sense.
But another point before we we'll eventually answer these questions. Wade brought up a point before we started the show. The Blues put out their jersey wear schedule for this year, and there's 5 jerseys being worn. We originally were told it was going to be the home and aways, and then of course the Winter Classics we knew would be in there, and there was rumors of some thirds, but the Blues have the home, the away, the Heritage, the 90s, and the Winter Classic. Do you know what else the Sharks are wearing besides their home and aways, Paul?
All I have heard so far are the home and aways. I know there was talk of having the black ones again this year, but we'll get information eventually. I do love the '90s vintage blues, and I'm happy to see them. Well, they're wearing that one 2 games, and one of them's against the Red Wings. That will look good.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. So I'm sorry. Okay, now we'll go back to the question, Wade. Do you need me to ask it again? I know we've already gone away from it so quick.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, hockey, I think.
I think there's going to be a certain level of, I'm not a authentic collector, so it's hard to, judge exactly what they're thinking. But I think there's going to be a certain level of that collector that is going to just want a fresh, clean one to put it together the way they want it. But I think there's always going to be that deal seeker who's maybe gotten used to stripping them and goes, hey, I can strip one of these. But then again, it throws back into a cost factor. Like, let's say the cheapest they can get one is $250, $300. Let's just throw a number out there. And then you got to put the time into stripping it or have somebody strip it and hope to God there's not like glue residue or any kind of issue. And then you have to redo the whole thing. I guess it will become a question of cost effectiveness for those people. And then also the desirability of how pure they want the jersey to be, if they're a wearer or a hanger up or what, however they collect them. So I think that'll play a part in it. I also think right now we're seeing Fanatics put out their high retail price on these things. And I think, as we know, there will be sales and opportunities to get them cheaper throughout the season, and season ticket holders and different discounts that different franchises and pro shops put on these things. Just like we're seeing some of these popping up, with the different third-party sites that have the blanks now for the Adidas that were impossible to get for years. I think it's going to be a patience game, and just wondering, there's going to be some that get stripped. I think that's inevitable, but I think you'll see less of it. Did I answer the question, even though you asked it 30 minutes ago?
No, I think you covered it well. And again, it's the guessing games that we like to play, but
yeah, we're speculating on the whole thing. I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, I think the stripping came out of necessity more than desire. I think we have to think about that aspect of it. I think those guys just said, "Oh shit, I can't get a blank Adidas." And I think now they're going to say, "Oh man, I can get a blank Fanatics. It is the exact same, and I don't have to tear something apart and deal with the remnants of whatever was on there previously."
But you're talking 400 plus to start.
Yeah, but you're talking probably, let's say, like I said, devil's advocate, let's say 200 to 300 for one that you got to spend all the time in stripping and then hope it comes out stripped correctly.
Well, I think first off, there's a lot of people who are really good at stripping jerseys and redoing them. I mean, the Discord group's full of them, Reddit. Shout out to Mike here in San Jose. There's a lot of people who do this well and do it for others. A lot of times you will see camp jerseys sometimes go for as cheap as, 150, 200. The Blues have some crazy blowout sales. My question is, where's the price differential where it's worthwhile buying a cheaper jersey, stripping it, and recustomizing it yourself? When you're talking.
Here's one other factor we're talking about. We got to find out. I think a lot of times when you see the teams like the Blues or other teams that sell the issued camp ones for really, really cheap, I think that there's obviously got to be somebody who puts in a calculator and figures out what their costs for the jerseys are. And I wonder that if the cost has gone up with this Fanatics change for the teams, if that means they're not going to be able to sell them quite as cheap as they have in the past.
Good point. I was also thinking that when you have that big price differential, if they could sell them that cheap, it encourages people to buy them and strip them.
Sure.
So we could be seeing the price points of the lower end jerseys from teams that offer them going up because of this.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong, but it's.
And the other thing you may have is if you don't care that it's a Fanatics jersey, I know some big rookie guys like Celebrini and those people are going to want them on the correct jersey. But in some cases, like going back to ProStockHockey.com, is you have Nashville home and aways out there that start at 179. You've got New Jersey Devils that are 169, and then the New York Rangers, the blank ones, are 259, 229. So those are blanks of three teams that you can get and get customized for. Even taking in Rangers at 229, let's say it's 150, that's 380 and customized the way you want. Since some have more, I think more teams that had these big stock of Adidas stuff, you may see those pop up in some places, maybe even cheaper than what these are. But if you want a Fanatics, you're going to pay through the nose for it.
Well, the Blues just had that Blues and Brews deal at Anheuser-Busch, and I pointed out, I sent pictures to you guys that.
Yes.
The players were on stage and they were wearing Adidas jerseys with the Adidas logo. I couldn't get a close enough look to see if it was removed or covered on the back of the jersey. But at one point they had a picture of Holloway holding one up, and you could clearly see the Adidas prime green tag on the back hem, the little black tab on the back of it. But the Adidas logo was gone.
Yeah,
covered up.
And you can definitely tell because it's the dimples.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think you're going to see those on the ice or anything. I think the only way you see those on the ice is in the past. I know when Reebok changed some logos, they covered logos. My only question is going to be if they don't somehow get those third jerseys or the specialty jerseys, if they somehow have a huge stock of those and do some kind of alteration so that they can burn those out and use them. I mean, I don't know what the rules of the contract are, but that was really interesting to me because it was one of those, I can't believe they still have them and they're still messing with them at some level.
Didn't that happen with the old Coho jerseys? They covered those up.
Covered up the Coho and put a different logo. Reebok at one point changed their logo on the back of the jerseys. So there were some of those that they went from I think they had the Reebok logo and then they covered it with a Reebok where it said Reebok across the back.
And there's the picture of the back of Holloway's. Two things that they did, of course, did it quickly. As if you notice, the name bars ironed on. I can tell really easily that's not stitched. But up here at the top of the screen, you can see kind of. It almost looks like I can't tell if they covered it, but there's a bunch of
holes.
Yeah. I don't know if they tried to take if they took a stitcher and undid that. But
and on the bottom of the jersey, on the bottom of the jersey, you can't see it, but it had the prime green tag still on the bottom of the jersey. Yes. And to me, that was just interesting that, who knows? I mean, it's weird that was an official Blues event, but not only was he holding it, but there was pictures of the other players wearing them like that.
Yeah, and I guess it makes sense because those are they got tons of those laying around. It's easy for them for the what do they call them? Not PR. Well, I guess they are basically PR, but community relations jerseys.
Yeah. Well, and if you remember the one year that when Adidas went to the prime green, the Blues did wear non-prime green jerseys for one of the alternate jerseys that year. Yep. Remember because they must not have gotten those in the prime green material, but they had a ton of the other ones. So they did. That was the one time that year they played in a non-prime green jersey.
And I remember some people talking from other teams that they had won auctions throughout the year and guys were in non-prime green. And it wasn't even every player. So they may have had a size or that something was modified. Yeah. So there is a mix of that beyond when Adidas switched. But I'll be curious to see more of that goes up.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see that this year, to see if we see some interesting things. If you see a guy somehow out there with an Adidas jersey.
It's a little harder because the dimples are really easily noticed. Knowing
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, the dimples will be a pretty good giveaway on that. But it's going to be an interesting year with jerseys. I mean, the stuff with the strippers, I think, is going to become interesting. I think that obviously everybody's going to be watching the material after the baseball debacle last year.
I took a bunch of flack when I posted to our page, a few weeks ago. after the Blues rookie camp. They were playing in the hosting them actually in St. Louis, and it was Blues versus Wild. One of the guys got in a fight and pretty much ripped the arm off.
Yeah.
And I put those pictures up, and a lot of people were, I guess, hard on it because they're like, well, you look at past fights and that. I'm like, I get that.
Yeah.
But
It's just funny that it happened so fast.
right. It's the beginning of the season, and maybe it's just how he grabbed the jersey that came apart, but it still raises questions, regardless of.
I mean, that's our there. That's what this is dirty laundry. Our job is to look at stuff that happens with jerseys and figure out what's going on with them.
As an admin in that group, I had a bunch of spam reports on that one. So people did use a report to admin feature, but which is good. Keep doing that, everyone. So
Well, and look, and sometimes the reason I put that out there too is to light up a discussion.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
all of us have been around the hobby a long time. It's not like we don't know this stuff. And yes, you see it in fights, but these jerseys just started being used. Is it inconvenient timing? It's possible. Is it material issues or something else? It's also possible, but we'll get 20 games into the season across all the teams, and we'll see what other kind of reports we have.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun this year. Just there's a lot of stuff moving around.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm just happy my Red Wings are not out of the playoff race yet. So
we'll give it by the second game of the regular season. But
no, I have hope for them. One thing, as we talk about strippers and stuff on this, a lot of times when you get sorry, Wade, as people get requests for these jerseys, they're just like, I want a home, whatever, game issued, but I want a size 52.
Yeah.
You almost never, I think the smallest Adidas you typically saw was 54.
Yeah.
If you were lucky. Most were 56, 58, or, goalie cut. So the fact that Fanatics is offering 48, 50, 52, 54s, people who would normally buy a jersey and strip it are just ecstatic they can actually get the size that they want.
Yeah.
No, that's a very good point, because a lot of people complain about how they swim in their jerseys when they buy them, and I get it. If you can get one that fits you better with who you want on it, more power to you.
Yeah, and I think that is really going to help the sales on these, and will discourage some people who would have stripped jerseys before, because now they have the size they want.
Yes.
One other thing I did notice was the Blues practice jerseys. I love the crest. I really do love what they did with that. And the one thing they also did was they did 3-color numbers on the back of the jerseys again, which I thought was great.
Yeah, that was not so plain. Looked much more team oriented and not generic white.
I thought that was really great. I was a big fan of that.
What did San Jose do something similar, Paul?
They I've been to one of the days of practice, and I can't remember what the numbers look like. I'm just pulling that up right now. But they did have, I think it was like the black jerseys had a gray thing on the shoulder, so you could barely see it. The other ones, it was obvious on the teal and the white. But the numbers, I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, I'm pulling those up right now.
But yeah, ours for our older style training camp jerseys were either a yellow or a navy for the numbers, very basic, but they look so much better now and with the new Adidas or new Fanatics, excuse me. And I was really impressed. They really popped. They made the jerseys look much better.
Yeah, the numbers are just all one regular. I think they're sewn on again. Numbers, kind of like what they had on Adidas.
Okay.
Name bars are Velcro again. But the teal ones have a black thing on the shoulder, which I think does nothing. The white ones have black on the shoulder, which I think looks terrible. And the black ones have like a gray patch there, which you barely notice. And
I'll be curious, because I'm ones that'll buy those. I'm actually going to pick one up Saturday, the practice jerseys to wear when I play. I'll be curious once I can get my hands on one of those to wear, just to see if it feels any different with wearing shoulder pads and that, if the, like, just how it sits.
Yeah. Now I've heard something the Sharks are going to be selling practice jerseys, not worn or anything, just exactly like what the team's wearing. Too, I've heard stuff along that lines because I'm guessing the Sharks will use these jerseys for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
They normally do a training camp sets, and most teams will do that too.
Yeah, like the Blues did, and now they're finally starting to sell them since they can't wear the Adidas ones anymore.
Exactly, and they did at the Sharks practice. They did have two players in a darkish yellowish jerseys, and those were pretty sharp looking.
That'd be the no contact ones, probably.
I think it was. I know as players coming back from injuries, they did engage in a little bit of contact though. So it was, in some drills where it looked like you could really get rocked if you weren't careful. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I can't believe we're so close to the start of the season. It's and sometimes it seems like it just ended. And now we're through the draft. I know you and Mitch had a great time in Vegas with that. Now we're here. We're wrapping up training camp, seeing who's getting sent down to the minors or to wherever, or being released from PTOs. And I know I was watching some stuff last night, and they were calculating how many games Ovechkin has to do all the things he needs to do to break records. I hope he does all of it and wraps up one hell of a career. I hope San Jose is not in the basement.
Yeah, they might beat out Chicago.
And Chicago will be an interesting one to watch. It'd be nice seeing them in preseason on Saturday. But of course, you've got some of the older guys there. I think one of their goalies or somebody just got hurt, so that's kind of thrown some things off a little bit. Former Blue Pat Maroon, I just listened to an interview with him the other day, talking about being in Chicago now, and always fun to watch him. He's one of the guys you wouldn't expect to still be in the league as long as he has. But hey, some of those guys that just have the grit and the attitude and stuff that brings locker rooms, that it works out great. But anything else we should talk about before we get out of here, gentlemen?
Well, on top of that, it's going to be interesting to see how Utah works out, especially with how the arena is configured this year with a bunch of obstructed view seats. And
I can't remember who it was. One of the maybe been one of the Daily Faceoff guys put a video out before their first home game the other night and just kind of panned the arena. Overall, and I'm going, he's standing about center ice, but up in the upper seats. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
I know there's just one hell of an energy out in Utah, and I do want to congratulate them on scoring their very first goal on themselves. I'm assuming you saw that video too, Paul.
I heard about it. I have not seen it though.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and to listen to the announcers give the guys crap for not getting down there fast enough. It's just a fluke play, but it was so funny, and of course, Blues media and others picked up on that, and at least it was in preseason, not regular season.
Yeah. It was. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun out there,
and I can't wait to see when the first set of Utah jerseys come up for sale, what those sell for.
Now, are they with anybody, or have we found that out, or are they like?
I'm gonna guess, and I may try and reach out to their media people and find out. I'm gonna guess it's in house.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Well, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do because I mean, obviously, you know, when the franchise, or I know they're saying it's a new franchise, but whenever they were in Arizona, they didn't have really they did stuff in the team store. It'd be interesting to see what changes or how it changes.
Yeah, and I'll try and reach out to them. And if anybody else knows, please feel free to reach out. I won't use your name if you don't want it out there, but I will at least reach out and see if I can get some information there. Because it is a good thing to know. But
yeah,
I'll be curious to see how they're sold and what they sell for. But I do feel, even just as the Utah Hockey Club, and we've talked about this before, I really like the colors. I watched the stream of the Blues in Utah, and I thought they looked really good.
Yeah, it's a good looking jersey.
Wade, anything final from you?
No. Thank you guys for putting up with my dogs for in the first half of the episode.
Hey, it's life. Home doing
life,
it.
Yeah, new puppy new puppy. He's learning how to handle being on the podcast. Looking forward to hearing about George's show next week. I know it's going to be a big hit. He really puts on a fantastic show. Yeah, man, I can't believe we're back to hockey season. I'm so excited.
You know what? I think it's gone fast, especially with us doing shows the way we've done. It's really, I think, helped fill the hole, at least with some of us, to keep that hockey focus on all summer long. So
yeah,
appreciate all your guys' hard work with it as well, and it's been fun. Paul, anything final from you tonight?
Nope, just wishing well to everyone down in Florida and Georgia, Alabama, that whole area, and hoping everything goes well by the time this is uploaded and it's all over with.
I did see a video, and I don't remember where it was shared in Florida, but it was two guys on like a deck hockey rink outside playing in the hurricane force wind and rain, just like a one-on-one. It was hilarious to watch. But if you do that stuff, please still be safe, okay? But again, thank you for all the support. Keep liking, subscribing wherever. Get your friends that are in hockey, even just a little bit, if they think they're interested, get them following the page. Make sure also too, the Tales from the Warehouse Migrate just dropped their new show as of Thursday. I have not had a chance to listen to it. That's on my to-do list tomorrow, so please check those guys out. Here in a few weeks, we will have Scott Lynn, the host of that, coming on. He is also a collector, so he'll be joining us in the next few weeks. So we look forward to that. Until next time, gentlemen, have a good one, and we are ever closer to hockey season.